All right. First question on the study guide is the question we've done a few times about men and women um, with arthritis. So create a 95% confidence interval for the difference P1 minus P2, where sample 1 is the proportion of senior women suffering from some form of arthritis, and sample 2 is the proportion of senior men. So to do that, we're going to do proportion stats. So stats, proportion stats, and now we're going to do two sample with summary. Okay, so we're going to put that information in here. So remember, sample 1 is for women. So that's going to be 531 out of 10 out of 1060. So 531 out of 1060. And then sample 2, which is men, will be 406 out of 1011. So 406 out of 1011. And we want a 95% confidence interval. So 0.95. And we're going to compute. And we have our answer here. So let me make this screen a little smaller. So type integers or decimals rounded to 3 decimal places as needed. So that's going to be 0.057, 0.057 if we round it. And this one's going to be 0.142. Okay. So we are 95% confident based on these samples that the proportion of American women age 65 and older who suffer from arthritis is between, that would be 5.7% and 14.2%. And we're going to choose more or less. Well, because the differences are positive, we're going to choose more. And that is it for number 1. Number 2, we have the live births for younger women versus older women. So run the mechanics of a hypothesis test and find the p-value. So if we go back to StatCrunch, we're once again going to do t-stats, 2 sample with summary. And this time, so a reproductive clinic reported 48 live births to 149 women. So 48. Oh, excuse me. I screwed up here. We're going to do proportion stats, not t-stats. Proportion stats, 2 sample with summary. So that was my mistake. Okay. And even said here, proportion stats. So 48 live births to 149. So 48 out of 149. And then 4 live births for 78 clients. So 4 out of 78. And we're going to do a hypothesis test. Okay. Is there evidence of a difference in the effectiveness of the clinic's methods for older women? Okay, so that does not imply less than or greater than, so I'm going to leave it as not equal to. And we're going to look at the p-value. And if I round it to 4 decimal places, it's going to be 0.0001. Okay, and I'm not sure why it's marking you wrong. Okay. It's marking us wrong because the p-value is less than 0.0001, which in fact would make it 0.0000. So that is my mistake. If you made that same mistake on your assignment or your test, I would obviously override that to a correct answer. So don't worry about it if it marked you wrong. Number 3. A man who moves to a new city. This is the route, the average time for a route. So we're going to do T stats this time. So stat, T stats, and to sample and with summary. Okay. So use route B for sample 1 and route A for sample 2. So notice he drove each one for 10 days. So the sample size for both is going to be 10. So remember, route B is sample 1. Route B is sample 1. So route B takes an average of 48 minutes with a standard deviation of 5. So 48, standard deviation 5. Route A takes an average of 47 minutes, standard deviation of 2 minutes. So this will be 47 and 2. And we want a 95% confidence interval. So confidence interval, 0.95 is already there. And we're going to compute. Okay. Round to 2 decimal places. So my lower limit is going to be negative 2.72. And the upper limit is going to be 4.72. Okay, number 4. Once again, we're going to do T stats. We're going to do T stats again. To sample. All right. So let's see. For region A, we'll use region A. So my count, which is my sample size, is 39. Okay. My mean is 1695.06. So 1695.06. And then my standard deviation is 138.42. Okay. Sample mean, let's see, for B, the mean is going to be 1491.27. Okay, standard deviation is 153.59. Okay. And my sample size is 26. Okay. Is this evidence that the mortality rate is significantly different for the 2 regions? Okay, so that does not imply less than or greater than. So once again, we're going to leave it at not equal to. And once again, we get a p-value of less than 0.0001. So remember, for my p-value, I'm going to type in 0.0000. Okay. State your conclusion. Use a significance level of 0.05 to draw the conclusion. So once again, my p-value is obviously less than 5%, which means this initial guess is false, which means this is true. So the difference is not equal to 0. So that means they are significantly different. There is a difference between the two. Okay. Now, the last 4 questions here. The last 4 questions here are the same as the first 4 questions, just different numbers. So if you want to stop now and move on to something else, that is fine with me. I'm going to quickly go through these last 4 questions without talking. So I'm going to go through these quickly. I will leave it up to you whether you choose to watch the rest of this video or not.